Alright guys, so I'm going to do something a little different today. I've got the, I didn't mean to do that, but I've got the calculator. You should have one of these downloaded on your screen here. I've got it so that you can see exactly how I'm using it as we take notes and stuff today, because you're really going to need to use one today. And remember, if you don't have one, download it. There's a video on how to download this exact calculator. I'm going to clear it on Google Classroom. If you can't find it, email me. I'll tell you how to find it. All right, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to be looking over a lot to make sure that you actually can see what I'm seeing. So first of all, though, we're on a new unit. Okay, so we're on Unit 3, functions here. So I'm going to take my tab. I need to cut it off here, and we're going to glue it in. Of course, if you don't have one, a printer or anything, you're just going to go and turn to page 37 in your notebook and put this in there. All right, so here's my notebook. 36 is going to be labeled Unit 3. That's important. That's going to be a notebook test question. 36 is labeled Unit 3. 37 is also labeled Unit 3, and we're going to glue in this tab. Today we're going to talk about function types, specifically parent functions, but you're going to see that in a minute. I don't have glue there. I got to go get some glue. Okay, so go ahead. Let's glue this in. If you don't have it, I would write these down on 37. Just make your own tab. Write them down. All right, there we go. Stick it out a little bit. Okay, so today we're going to do function types. Actually, today and next week we're going to do function types. We're going to do function types on pages 38 and 39. Okay, 38 and 39. I actually fill in the last tab because sometimes I forget. Yes, the last tab is done. It's 38, 39. All right, so go ahead and turn to page 38 in your notebook. Name it function types. It's 5.0 function types. We're also actually going to put in parentheses here. We're actually talking about parent functions today. So 5.0 function types. But specifically today, we're talking about parent functions. You're going to see what a parent function is. It's the simplest form of the function. So specifically parent functions. Okay, so remember, if you don't have a printer, that's fine. I've never said you need one. Just you're writing on page 38. Okay, and we're going to graph and do some stuff like that. So I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to grab the notes that I have on Google Classroom. All right, so you have this. It's on Google Classroom. You're going to take and fold this into the center. And you're going to fold the other side into the center. Okay, and I cut off the word exponential, so maybe I need to refold it a little bit. I'm not sure that's going to help any. Oh well. Okay, so we're going to talk about 6 types of functions, and we're going to have a separate day for each of these. But we have linear functions, quadratic functions, absolute value functions, square root functions, exponential functions, and cubic functions. Okay, we're going to talk about them all today. So open these. We're going to cut between. So we've got 6 separate flaps because we have 6 different functions. I'm not going to meet up. That's okay. Okay, so here's what we are going to do. So we're going to make a table, actually, to graph each of these functions. And there's a way to make a table on your calculator, but there's a way to actually just plug it in on your calculator as well. And I'm going to show you. All right, so go ahead and open up linear functions. So my linear function is y equals x. I'm going to make a table of values, x and y, to show or to graph my actual function here. So here's how I'm going to do that. I don't actually need a calculator for this one, but I'm going to show you how to use it once we get it. All right, unless I say otherwise, we're going to make our table, our x values, from, let me see, I think about -2 to whatever we can make it to. 2, 3, 4, 5. I probably should have gone to -3, but oh well. All right, so this literally says y equals x. So if I plug in x here, the y is going to be the same value. So -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and I'm going to graph -2, -2, -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. All right, I want you to take something, a ruler, straight edge, anything that's straight, and connect these points. Here's what I want to make sure you do on all of these. Make sure your graph covers the entire graph. Don't just put a little bit. Make sure you put arrows where arrows need to go, okay? A linear function is anything that's a straight line. It continues in both directions, okay? All right. Let's talk about a quadratic graph. Okay, I'm going to use the same values. I'm going to kind of open it so you can still see it. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here's how I find these. Remember, I'm plugging in. If you don't know what -2 squared is, that's fine. I can take my calculator and plug it in. But when you are plugging it in, let me show you what you are actually doing. You are taking this x, putting -2 in parentheses, closing it, and squaring it. Okay, and then pressing enter. If you don't put in parentheses, you will not get the right thing. So it's 4. Okay, and now I do it again, but with -1 inside the parentheses. One, okay, and I'll keep going. That's 0, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Okay, something I want to show you though. If I didn't want to sit and type in every single one of these, I can make a table, and here's how I do it on my calculator. I'm going to press clear here. I'm going to go to y equals, which is right here. I'm going to clear these out because they shouldn't be there. Go down, clear this one out. All right, wherever it says y1, I'm going to type in x squared. X is right next to alpha, and squared was where I hit it a second ago. Okay, x squared. It should look exactly the same. Then I'm going to press second graph. Okay, I didn't press second. Second graph. Here's my table of values. I can just go up and down to see. So see, here's -2, and it's 4. That matches. -1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 4. 3, 9. 4, 16. 5, 25. There's how I can find those. So to get a table on a calculator, I go to y equals, type it in, then I press second graph, and that will give me the table of values. Now I'm going to graph it. I'm going to create a table of values for all the rest of these so that I don't have to so I don't have to actually plug it in every time, okay? All right, so -2 and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can't graph anything else. I can't graph 4, 16, and 5, 25. So I'm not going to. I'm only going to graph the ones I can, but I'm going to connect it. A quadratic graph is always a U shape. Okay? It's always a U shape. We're going to write that out. It's also called a parabola. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the lesson itself. So, linear is a line. Obviously, that makes sense. Okay? But a quadratic is a U shape. Okay? Now let's talk about absolute value. A U shape. Okay? Absolute value function. In an absolute value function, I have y equals the absolute value of x. Still going to use the same numbers. I'm only going to change those. I'm not going to change them today at all. You'll see when we change them, okay? Later, not today, never today. All right, an absolute value, remember, it's just like the distance from 0. So the absolute value of -2 is +2. The absolute value of -1 is 1. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you didn't understand that, if you don't understand exactly where I got these, I'm just plugging it in. -2, the absolute value is 2. -1, the absolute value is 1. If you don't know how to do this, though, we can go back to y equals and type it in. Okay, clear this out. I need you to know where to get absolute value bars, though. Here's where you get absolute value bars. You press the math button, which is right underneath alpha. You go over, and there it is, ABS. So you press math, go over, and you're looking for ABS. Okay, and we're going to press enter. There are my bars, okay? Then I press X. Just like before, to get a table, I'm going to press second graph. There's my table. Now I want to see -2 first, so I'm going to go up. So 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It does match, so we're good. Okay, so I'm going to graph it. -2, +2, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5. This is not a U, it's a V. So I'm going to actually use a straight edge because it's supposed to be straight lines. I'm covering the entire graph. I want you to do that. Don't draw a small graph. Be confident with your graph. Okay, so an absolute value is V-shaped. It's important you can recognize if it's absolute value, exponential, linear, square root, cubic, because on your 20-day, you have another one very soon, you are going to have to be able to look and determine what type it is, okay? Let's talk about square root functions now. Using the same values, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go ahead and just type this one right in, okay? Right into y equals. So go back to y equals. My mouse is not working now. Y equals. Clear this one out. Okay, to get square root, you press second x squared. So press the blue second and then x squared. There you go. And we're putting in x. Okay, and then second graph. All right, notice we have -2 and it says error. It says error because you cannot take the square root of a negative. You can, but it's an imaginary number, and you don't even need to think about that. That's algebra 2, okay? So the square root of a negative is not, it doesn't exist in your real world, in your real number system right now. So we're just going to skip over that. We're going to kind of cross them out. It doesn't work. It's not okay. We're not obviously going to be able to graph those. There will be nothing in the negative section, okay? So then we've got 0 and 0, okay, 0, 0, okay. Then we've got 1, 1. All right, now I want you to notice 2. See how it's 2 and then 1.41? I don't want to put that one. I don't like that one. So we're going to change our graph. This is the only reason or the only time that you would change your table is if you get decimals like this. We don't want this. We want something we can graph, good whole numbers. So we don't want to graph 2 and 1.41. So let's skip down. 3, we don't want to graph that one either. 4, let's graph that one. 4, 2. Okay, let's go down until we find another good whole number. Not 5, not 6, or 7, or 8, 9. Let's graph 9. 9, 3. Okay, let's keep going. Whole number, 16. Okay, let's keep going. We're filling the table in. Oh, 25. 25 and 5. Okay, so we only change the table if we have some decimals we don't want, okay? Because we don't want to graph decimals, we don't want to have to worry about that. Okay, we can't graph -2 because it's not a real number answer. Can't graph -1, it's not a real number, but we can graph 0, 0. Okay, we can graph 1, 1. We can graph 4, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We can graph 9, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 16 is off the graph, 25 is off the graph, so we can only graph these. Now, we only are going to have the right half of this graph filled in. Sometimes it's the right, sometimes it's the left. Because this side over here isn't got the error message, meaning they're not real solutions. They are real, but they're not in the real number system, okay? A square root graph is going to look like a sideways U. So it's like half of a sideways U. So a square root graph always looks like either like this. It can also look like this. It could be upside down. But it's going to look like half of a U shape. That's what a square root graph is going to look like. Okay, one of those 4 options. Okay, now let's talk about exponential function. Okay, we've got y equals e to the x power. We're going to use the same values unless we find out we get these huge decimals. We're actually going to get decimals on all of these. This one's strange, and you'll see why. Okay, so we're going to go to y equals. I'll clear this out. Y equals e. Now I got to really look and see if I can find e. I do see e. I'm going to have to press second to get it. So second, is it log? Nope, that's not it. Second, ln, I see it. Okay, so we're going to press, to get this e, e is a number like pi. We're going to press second and then ln. That's how we're going to get the e, and then we're going to put an x up there. Okay, second graph. Okay, do you see how all of these are decimals? Sadly, they're all going to be decimals on this one, and so we're just going to have to graph it. There's nothing we can do. The only one that's not is the number 0. All right, so number -2 is what we're looking for. -2 is 0. We're going to round to 2 decimal places to 1, 4. And -1 is 0.37. 0 is 1. That's the only one that's going to be a whole number. Okay, 1 is 2.72. 2 is 7.39. 3, 20.09. 4, 54.60. And number 5, 148.41. And exponential, like I said, more than likely, a lot of times it is a decimal. You'll find some that aren't, but this is the only one that we're ever probably going to graph decimals, okay? So I have -2 and then 0.14. That's just barely over the 1 mark. All right, and then I have -1 and 0.37. It's still not a half yet. 0, 1. Okay, 1 and then 1, 2, more than 2. Okay, and 2, and it goes all the way up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but a little bit larger than 7. And then 4 goes up to 54. That's way off my graph. 5 goes all the way up to 148. Here's what an exponential function does. An exponential function starts off really, really slow, and then it explodes, okay? Exponential, it explodes. It gets there really, really fast, okay? It can either go up really fast or it goes down really fast. We'll talk about that a little bit more later too. There's a lot of real world things that have to do with exponential functions. And I'll show you that, but it goes up, it explodes is what we're going to say. So an exponential function, it's like it explodes. So it starts off slow, and then bam, there it is, way up top, okay? That's how an exponential function works. It can go up really quick, it can go down really quick. population growth, those kind of things are exponential functions. All right, last, let's talk about a cubic function. A cubic function is a cubic function because it's got a 3 cubed, okay? Same numbers. Remember, we're only going to change those numbers if we find out that we could get some whole numbers. If we can't get whole numbers, we're just going to move on. Okay, let's take our calculator, go to y equals, and clear this out. We have x. All right, we can't press squared this time, so what we have to do is we have to press the little caret key here underneath the clear. And hang on while my mouse is not working. So this button right here. And then we're going to put in a 3, okay? Then we need to go over, just so we're not up there, and press second and graph. All right, so let's go up. We need -2. So -2 is -8. -1 is -1. 0 is 0. 1 is 1. 2 is 8. 3, 27. 4. My mouse isn't working again. 4 is 64. And 5 is 125. So I'm probably not going to be able to graph that one. Do you notice a pattern? 0, -1, 1, -8, 8. That also happens in quadratic. 0, 1, 1, 4, 4. But again, we'll talk about that a little later. Okay, when we talk about the specific ones every day. All right, -2 and -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. -1, -1. 0, 0. 1, 1. And then 2, and then 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't graph any of the rest of these, so I'm just going to leave them off. I want them in the table, but I'm going to leave them off. All right, here's how this works. Like reading a book, you go from left to right. Okay. A cubic graph. I like to joke around last year and said, here's how a cubic graph works, okay? Driving along the road here, there's a deer, so you swerve to miss it and you keep going. All right, a cubic graph starts going in one direction, kind of swerves, and goes in the other direction. Sometimes it can go up and around like you're going around something. But a cubic function starts going one way, swerves, and keeps going. All right, it could have been going this way and swerved, but the point is it does come over some. All right. All right, so those are the different types of functions. We're going to zoom out. We're going to have a day for each of the 6 later. All right. If you don't have this calculator downloaded, do that now. You're going to need it for the assignment. All right. Go ahead. We're going to glue this in on 38. We'll do 39 later. All right. Not this week, actually. We'll do it next week. Okay. So glue this in on 38. Then you're going to need to start the assignment. Do not forget, we eventually are going to have a notebook test, which means you're going to need to do that and to, worry about that and get that accomplished. All right, so we're going to glue this in right here. I will see you guys next week, but let me, on the next video, let me know if you need any help.